Yes, very good morning to all of you. Today, let us start with the next topic, that is moral autonomy. In this moral autonomy, we study definition of moral autonomy, then definition of authority, the relationship between autonomy and authority with some example, then we look at consensus and controversy. So first let us study what is meant by moral autonomy. So autonomy means it is freedom to act. So independent ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ನಿಂದ ನಾವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, so that is called as a autonomy. Okay. Moral autonomy means self-determinant or independent. So this actually means taking the action independently and determining on our own. ಏನಾದರೂ ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೋತಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಂತ ನಾವು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಂತ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಡಿಟರ್ಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ autonomy. Okay. Moral autonomy may also be defined as a skill and habit of thinking logically about the ethical issues on the basis of moral concern. So we all will be knowing about what is moral value, what is ethics. So on this base moral concern, we have to think logically on our own and take the decisions. So this thinking logically on our own and taking the decisions on our own is called as a moral autonomy. By looking engineering as social experimentation will promote autonomous participation and retain one's professional identity. So in engineering field it is required to have the moral autonomy. Everyone should have this skill. So everyone should act independently. At least for their work, when taking the decisions for their work, they should act independently. So this is also needed for the experimentation, because engineering means what? Doing new things, experimenting. In that case, we should first decide what is good. We should act independently. Then periodical performance appraisals, tight time schedules and fear of foreign competition threatens this autonomy. Sometimes autonomy is very good, so it is required for everyone, whether it is a student or whether it is you are a professional. So you need to have certain autonomy, certain independence, so certain freedom. So that will help you a lot for your creative solutions, for your work in your future. Okay. But what happens sometimes, so there will be some restrictions, so which will hinder your autonomy, which will stop your autonomy, which will control your autonomy. What is that? So that is given here. Periodic performance appraisals, tight time schedules and fear of foreign competition threatens this autonomy. So yaವಾಗ ನಾವು threatening ಆಗ್ತೈತಂದ್ರೆ, so for example, so you'll be having continuously test internals and you'll be having some assignments, activities to be submitted. So these will tighten your time schedule, and also you will not get much time to do something extra new thing, creative one. So you will not get the time for that. You will not get the freedom, and also you will not get the time for that. So that is why this will threaten the autonomy. In case of tight time schedules, in case of performance appraisal, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ದು performance ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಹೇಗೆ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತೀರ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದಾಗ, then you will be under pressure to write the test, to give the activity. So this may not give you the time to act independently, to take decisions on your own. So this may threaten your autonomy. Okay. If management looks only profitability is more important than the constant quality and retention of the customers, that discourages the moral autonomy. So ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, so management if only they look at the profit compared to quality and customer, So customer ಮತ್ತೆ quality ಗಿಂತಲೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ if they look only at the profit, in that case also the moral autonomy is discouraged. The attitude of management should allow latitude, that is freedom to act in the judgment of their engineers on moral issues. So usually what is expected in the management, so management they must give certain freedom for the engineers so that they can act independently, they can decide on their own, they can give a creative solution so that the company will grow by taking those solutions. It will develop the company. So this is expected, this is desirable for the management. So I think the moral autonomy meaning is clear for you. Now the engineering skills related to moral autonomy, what the skills to be developed, what are the skills to be developed related to moral autonomy. So to work in a free way, to work independently, independently now work ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, so some skills we need to develop, so that is taken here. First one, proficiency in recognizing moral problems in engineering. So proficiency ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ರಿ, expert. So ನಾವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇರಬೇಕ್ರಿ, first we should be expert in recognizing moral problems in engineering. Engineering ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾವ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾವ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ರಿಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟೈಸ್ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ. Then skill in understanding and clarifying the arguments on different aspects of moral issues. So moral issues ಅಂದ್ರೆ moral problems ರೀ. So ಅವ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು what are the problems. So that is taken as a skill in understanding. And clarifying arguments. So you may argue with somebody else when you are solving some problems, then other may give certain solutions and you may not agree with those solutions, then there will be a argument, conflict. So ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ಲೇರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, what you are telling whether it is right, so you should be able to convince it. So that is also one of the skill you should have. Next, ability to form consistent and comprehensive viewpoints based on. Okay, see here, ability to form consistent and comprehensive viewpoints based on facts. So here you should know all information about that issue. Comprehensive means vistaravagi. So in all ways you should know the facts related to that moral issue. So that is taken as a comprehensive. So this ability to form consistent and comprehensive viewpoints based on facts means, so ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಿ, ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. Awareness of alternate responses to the issues and creative solutions for practical difficulties. So you should have the awareness. So many responses will be there, so many solutions will be there, different solutions, different approaches will be there. So adr ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ awareness ಇರಬೇಕು. So awareness ಇರದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ you should better ask somebody else, so what may be the solution for that, so which is the alternate solution for that. So this is known as the awareness, so it should be also developed. Sensitivity to genuine difficulties, willingness to understand. So some difficulties will be very sensitive, so it may be harming others, otherwise when others tells their opinion, so you should be sensitive and give the respect for their opinion. So ಅವ್ರದ್ದು genuine ಇದ್ದಾಗ, difficulty nu genuine ಇದ್ದಾಗ, so you should react immediately, that is taken as a sensitivity here. And willingness to understand, so ಆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿ, willingness to understand. Now so others feelings ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ, others ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಮಾಡೋದು, that is willingness to understand. Next, tolerance some uncertainty while making decisions. So ನೀವು decision ತಗೋಬೇಕಾದಾಗ you should have certain patience. So ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ನಾನೇ ಸರಿ ಅಂತಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. So you may be having your own views, own opinion, ideas. Some others may be having different views and those views may be correct in their side, in their respect, and our views, our opinions may be correct in our ways, our views. Okay, so this may create certain conflicts. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತ್ರಿ, ಗೊಂದಲ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಜಗಳ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ we should have certain patience to wait so that we reach to a particular good solution for that. Okay, using rational dialogue in resolving moral conflicts. So rational dialogue andre ನಾವು ಒಂದು ವಿವೇಕಯುತವಾಗಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ರಾಷನಲ್ ಡೈಲಾಗ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು, ಏನ್ ಮಾತಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ವಿ ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ, then it is very easy for resolving the moral conflict. Okay, developing tolerance of different perspective among morally reasonable people. So this is very important because when we are working, there will be variety of people. So you know that in India it is a there is a diversity. Diversity ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಭಿನ್ನತೆ ಇದೆ ರೀ. So people will be from different culture, different region, language. So that is called as a diversity. So ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆದವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ sometimes it may lead to conflict ಆಗೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವ್ರಿ, because their views will be different, our views will be different. So in such case it is better to develop the tolerance. So tolerance ಅಂದ್ರೆ patience ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಸಹಿಷ್ಣುತೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. So this will help us. Next, maintaining the moral integrity. Moral integrity ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕಲ್ತೀವಿ. Integrity ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? So unity in thought, deed, okay, action. So that is called as a integrity. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಏನು ಯೋಚಿಸ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ನಾವು ಏನು ಯೋಚಿಸ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನುಡಿಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. That is unity in thought, action and also in words. So this is called as moral integrity. So these skills are required for everyone to act independently, to work independently. You require these skills. So that we call it as a skills related to moral autonomy. Okay, next comes authority. So we have now understood what is autonomy. Next, let us learn what is authority and relationship between autonomy and authority. So authority, it provides freedom for action specified within limits depending on situation. So this is also very similar to autonomy, but a small difference is there. So it is a freedom for action specified within limits depending on situation. So I will explain this with the help of example. Explain the relationship between autonomy and authority. So let us study in detail. Autonomy is independent in decision making and action. It is independent. Authority provides freedom for action specified within limits depending on situation. So the best example I can give you is, the teacher is having the authority to have a control on the students. Teacher is having the authority to have a control on students in the class. On teacher, who is having the authority in the college? Principal sir. Principal sir is having the authority, he is having the power to have a control on teachers, staff members. And similarly, the teachers will be having the authority to have a control on students in the classroom. So I think this example is clear for you. Authorities having the power to take the decision or to make the action. Okay. Next, moral autonomy and respect for authority can coexist. Avu eradu coexist agtitare. They are not totally separate. They are related. How? They exist equally. They are not against each other. So they are not opposite. Okay. When the authority is misused, conflicts may arise between autonomy and authority. So ಯಾವಾಗ authority misuse ಆಗ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗದ್ದಲ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಜಗಳ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. So certain situations you may face when the authority is misused. So here I will give you one example. So in this one example is there, that is illustrated. What is the relationship between authority and autonomy? So consider the relationship between autonomy and authority with reference to the classroom. In a classroom, the teachers have the authority over students. So who is having the power to have a control on students? Teachers. That we call it as authority. Authority of the teachers help in maintaining the dignity and decorum of the academic climate in the institution. So authority is required. So control idde hodre, then there will not be a smooth functioning of the institution. So authority is required. Also in restoring the confidence and respect between the teachers and students. So students ಮತ್ತು teachers ನಡುಬರ್ಕ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಗುಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ so there must be authority for the teachers to have a control on the students. Okay, so this is one part. Next we'll take two cases here. First case, so there should be acceptance of authority by both teachers and students in order to conduct the classes in orderly way. So ella sariyagi nadibekandre this authority, the power of the teacher should be accepted, and also the student should know who is having the control, who is having the power to have the control on them. So if they accept it easily without any complaints, then everything will smoothly going. Next, second case, when the authority is misused, conflicts may arise between autonomy and authority. So yavaga misuse agtade nodri authority. For example, students are having the autonomy to express their own views. Students say freedom ittidri, they may ask the questions. So in professional ethics, when I am teaching, so you are having the freedom to ask the questions if you don't understand it. So that we call it as autonomy. So you can act independently to ask the questions within a limitation. Okay. Suppose if the professor does not allow them to do so, hey, question ಯಾಕೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಿಪ್ಪ ತಿಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಬೈದ್ರೆ, suppose if that professor, teacher, if it is he is not allowing the student to ask the questions, to student to act independently, so in that case, so what it shows, the professor is misusing his power, misusing his authority. So this gives rise to conflict situation, ಒಂದು ಗೊಂದಲದ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಗದ್ದಲದ ವಾತಾವರಣ, ಅಥವಾ it may lead to quarrels also. So this is not a desirable one. So this thing, I think it is clear for you. Now, after knowing about what is autonomy and what is authority, the relationship between that, next we studied consensus and controversy. So consensus means agreement, andre ಒಪ್ಪಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುದ್ರಿ, ಒಪ್ಪಿಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದು. Consensus means agreement, and controversy means conflict or disagreement. Controversy andre ನಾವು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ರಿ, ವಾದ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. when the opponent is telling something, we tell other thing. So ಡಿಬೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ತೀರಿ, ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. So this will not come to a solution. So they will be keep on argumenting. ಅವರೊಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರ, ನಾವೊಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. So that leads to what? Conflict only. So this is called as a controversy. Okay. These two are important while considering the moral autonomy. Now moral autonomy study ಮಾಡಾಕ್ತೀವಿ. So in these two words are very important. Okay. In moral autonomy, since individuals are involved, disagreements are unavoidable. So ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು. There will be individuals working and they will be having different opinions. Suppose if you are solving a problem, if you are working in a project, if you are working on an activity, in that case individuals will be giving the opinions. So it is not that everyone will come to the agreement. So when one tells some solution, others may agree for that. Ellaru ಒಪ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಅದು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ. So that agreement we call it as a consensus. Sometimes what happens, others may not agree for that because they will be having other solutions. They will not say yes for your solution, they will not say yes for your idea. So that we call it as a disagreement. Disagreement andre that is controversy anta ನಾವು ತಗೋತೀವಿ. Okay. While applying moral autonomy ಅಂದ್ರೆ freedom to act. So ನಿಮ್ಗೆ freedom ಐತೆ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗಬಹುದ್ರಿ, one cannot get the same results as by others. So So because others will be also having the freedom to act independently. In such situation, it may end with a controversy. So ನಾವಂತರ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅವರೊಂತರ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅವರೊಂತರ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂದಾಗ so they will not come to a solution, they will not come to an agreement, so this may lead to controversy. Okay, in this case a proper tolerance among the people who are autonomous, responsible and reasonable is necessary. So ಇಂಥ situation ದೊಳಗ when they disagree, ಸೊ ಈ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ದಾಗ ಕಾಂಟ್ರವರ್ಸಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೌ ಟು ರಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ದಿಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಅಟಾನಮಸ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್. ಸೊ ನಮಗೆ ಅಟಾನಮಿಟಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಪವರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ we should know our responsibility. So responsible and also reasonable is necessary. So ನಾವು reasonable ಆಗಿ responsible ಆಗಿ behave ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ some to a certain extent we can resolve the conflict. This does not mean that forcing the engineers to reach same moral solution. So ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ನಂದೇ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ರಿ. So it is not a good thing. So we cannot force others to follow my idea. It is not a good practice because they can think in different way. Next, also exercising moral autonomy is not as perfect as algebra. So moral autonomy ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಗತ್ಲೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಅಲ್ಜಿಬ್ರಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಪೈ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ some individuals will be having their different views, different opinions, so it is not so easy to get to a particular solution. It is not so easy to get the consensus agreement, so this may lead to disagreement or controversy. So that is why it is taken as it is not simple as algebra. Okay, so one example is given here, you can take this. If authority of the engineer and moral autonomy of operator, if they do not follow operator, if the operator is not listening to the engineer, then that may lead to conflict, because the engineer will be having the authority, power iರ್ತೈತಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, he may have the power to control the operator, but operator is having the autonomy. ಆಪರೇಟರ್ ಅವರು ಓನ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಪವರ್ ಇರ್ತೈತೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ ದ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ ಮೇ ನಾಟ್ ಅಗ್ರಿ ವಿತ್ ದ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್. ಸೊ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ ಅಗ್ರಿ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮೇ ಲೀಡ್ ಟು ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಗೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರೋವರ್ಸಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಗೋಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಂದ್ರೆ ಬೈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್. Understanding is obtained by the two upon the mutual understanding their limits. So ಇಬ್ರು ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗೊಬ್ಬರು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅವರವ್ರ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಏನದಾವ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ then it is very easy to resolve the conflict, that is disagreement or controversy. Then they can come to a certain agreement that we call it as a consensus. Okay, I think it is very clear to you, students. Okay, let us conclude what we have studied today. Today we have studied a very important topic, that is on moral autonomy. What is moral autonomy and what is authority? What is the relationship between moral autonomy and authority with the help of example? We studied that. So let us stop here, students. So take care. Goodbye. Thank you.